So, over the past few months, there's been a lot of activity on the alpha server on Hypixel. Of course, the alpha server being the server where they test all of the new upcoming updates. While they don't always make the cut, there are some that have been in the works for a long time, or have basically been guaranteed. But when you actually think about it, there's so many big changes that will be coming to Skyblock soon, but the big question is when. Now, usually when the alpha server is opened in Skyblock, there is a huge queue of people to join. But we see at the moment the alpha server is open and there's just barely anybody on it, and the reason for that is pretty simple. Well, the alpha server has been open for so long, literally getting on for weeks. And of course at the moment they're testing the Better Mayors update. It'll introduce ministers, carnivals, and also 4th perks for selected mayors. But to be honest, it's not really unheard of for Hypixel to put an update on the alpha and then take it off and then put it back on and, you know, fix some things that need to be fixed. Sometimes the ideas that get put on the alpha server don't even make it to the main server. It's clear that this Better Mayors update probably will at some point though. And as for the Better Mayors update, it does look pretty promising. Do you remember back in the day in Skyblock when mayors just weren't even a thing? It's crazy to think that there was a point in time where there wasn't a mayor always elected. It's really strange. But it's going to be one of those situations that maybe in a year's time, we're going to look back at this update when this releases and think, it must have been so strange to have it how it was right now. The whole point of this new Better Mayors update is basically just to make the mayors more competitive, buffing and then adding a 4th perk to certain mayors that at the moment seem to be underpowered. Everybody's favourite mayors like Paul and Aatrox are basically going to remain the same because, to be fair, they're probably already too overpowered. But it would still be nice to see a 4th perk. Anyway, the Better Mayors update is relatively recent, so let's just move on. But before we do, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS, it gets yourself 5% off. You should subscribe to the channel if you watch the videos and you haven't subscribed, please make sure to do so. You should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video with slayers and dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry and make some coins, make sure to join. Now, the end hasn't really changed since Enderman Slayer, maybe slightly after when they added bruises, but we all know why we're here. Primal Dragons. Where are Primal Dragons, you might ask? Well, it's a good question. I'm not really sure. Now, the Primal Dragon update was added onto the alpha server just towards the end of February, which makes it almost 4 months ago. But the crazy thing is that all of the details relating to the Primal Dragon update are on the wiki. They're on the official Hypixel wiki, which makes me think that this update is basically confirmed. Surely it's got to come to the main server, but it's been 4 months. Where is it? You know, this is a really big update. It introduces Primal Dragon Armor, which, although has been chopped and changed, is still going to be really good. It's bringing basically an upgrade to the aspects of the dragons, and the possibility to drop a Primal Dragon Egg, which can upgrade a legendary Ender Dragon pet into a mythic, which is huge. You know, this is not a small update, and naturally it makes sense. Superior has been the best dragon armor realistically, collectively, for a long time now, and that is getting to the point where it's a little bit underpowered. It's got very specific usages, but Primal Dragon makes sense. You know, it's a really good armor set, and there's other great items you can get to. I've got to say that the whole system regarding Primal Dragons was a little bit convoluted. Maybe my small brain it was struggling to comprehend everything. As we're saying about all the loot and all the information being on the wiki, it really is. It really is. If we look here, Awakened Summoning Eyes are only used to spawn Primal Dragons. Basically the whole maths of how you can spawn a Primal Dragon, how many you'll spawn, it's all here. Which makes me think that the only thing that they can really be sorting is probably balancing issues. However, after 4 months, surely you would think that this would be here, you know? Well, at least I would think, and the fact that all the information is on the wiki kind of just is a little bit confusing. Because that would quite obviously make you think that this update is going to be coming out soon, considering they've gone to the effort of putting everything on the wiki and the full calculations in depth, but no, I don't know. But there is quite literally multiple wiki pages. There's even a wiki page for the Primal Dragon armor itself. Now, this armor set was changed so much that at this point, I don't really know if this is going to be, you know, how it releases. The armor stats are increased for the more dragons that you actually kill. And yeah, if I remember correctly, the stats used to be way better than this. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because this whole update, when it comes out, is going to be very expensive to do. And while sure, with these stats, it's a decent armor set, just like that, I'm not sure how it's going to compete and stack up against other armor sets. Now, of course, with enough Dragon Collection, you know, and the full set equipped, you can get a huge buff. But even if we go ahead and double all the stats on this armor set, it'll still be very good, but I think there's still better armor sets out there. And not mentioning the fact that I assume this armor is going to be pretty expensive because the update itself is going to be expensive. You see, I personally think that this update is got to be here soon. It's got to be. But I really don't know at this point. To be honest, I would have said that a couple of months ago too. Now, of course, the elephant in the room, the foraging update. But it isn't just the foraging update, because we've learned that there's so much more coming with the quote-unquote foraging update now. We've got a new skill, we've got changes to a lot of systems, and of course a ton of new content with the update. We're getting to around the time period as to when they estimated that it would be on the alpha, and it isn't on the alpha, considering the Better Maze update is still on the alpha, which makes me think that the Better Maze update obviously is going to come first, and then we might be seeing the foraging update. I mean, that's my guess, but whether that's going to be true or not, I don't know, considering we've thought we were going to have a foraging update for a very, very long time, and I don't know what's happening to my screen. Now, sure, the foraging update, like I said, it's going to bring loads of new content for foraging. It's probably going to be foraging 60, you know, it's going to be easier to get XP, and so on. You might have more opportunities to make more money, probably new axes, maybe even a system similar to Heart of the Mountain and the Tree, and loads of new mechanics. We've got the hunting skill as well, but along with this update, we've also got the changes to attributes on items, and it is an absolutely massive change. For those of you who don't know, basically, like pieces of armor or items with attributes on them, the attributes are basically going to be phased out, and they're going to be put on a menu. So that means that you don't unlock attributes, or you don't purchase attributes on a particular weapon in a certain order, i.e. god rolls. You basically just unlock them in a menu and select what attributes you want active. Which naturally you would think would mean that, well, these god roll pieces are going to crash in price. That's because if you could simply, you know, buy a mana pool 10 piece of armor and apply it to your menu, and then a mana regen 10 piece of armor and apply it to your menu, then that completely negates the need for both of those attributes to be on the same piece of armor. Which meant that naturally, when this change was announced, a lot of these god roll like fishing rods or pieces of armor or pieces of equipment dropped in price. Now those prices have pretty much creeped back up, because at this point the foraging update is probably not anytime close, anytime soon. You know, we've been told it's going to come out, you know, soon so many times before. Or maybe we haven't, but I've probably just imagined it. You know, everybody just wants this foraging update, because at the moment, I mean, there's probably a lot of people sat there with all the skills maxed out and waiting for this foraging update so they can, you know, not have to put up with the terrible state that foraging is in at the moment. But to me, it's all just uncertainty. Having 3 huge major updates in the pipeline is not a bad thing at all. It's very exciting, actually. However, it just means at the same time that there's a lot of uncertainty, like I said, especially with, for instance, like the god rolls from the foraging update. You know, is the game going to a later version? We still have no word on that. Anyway, this is going to be just about the end of today's video. Hope you all have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.